See what I have to deal with here?
Welcome back, ScreenRanters. With the trailer dropping for Black Widow, we wanted to take a gander at the actor herself, Scarlett Johansson. In particular, the rules she has to follow in order to portray the Russian Avenger on the big screen. One of the Disney and Marvel rules includes how she got into tip-top condition. Another includes how demanding globetrotting with the MCU can be. So get out your Widow Bite bracelets and relax as we take you on a Nat venture, Quick warning, there's going to be a lot of terrible pun titles just like that, so sorry in advance. Anywho, on to the show. Hawkeye and Black Widow can't get the privilege of firing repulsor beams or tossing a shield at their foes, nope. Instead, they're just humans. But in order to keep up with their powered chums, they need to bring something to the table. Hawkeye has arrows covered, while Black Widow brings outstanding hand-to-hand combat. During an interview with Shape, Johansson's MCU stunt double, Heidi Moneymaker, yeah, that's her real surname, spoke about her time with the actor. During film breaks, the two would do extra combat fighting on set. On top of this, Johansson studied some Brazilian jiu-jitsu techniques.
Oh my God!
She signed up with Higan Machado, an instructor that has worked with many celebrities. Some actors may just learn the choreography of a battle, or they may tag in their stunt double to do the punchy scenes. Yet, it can make the scenes appear less natural. Johansson wanted to do the scenes well, and it turned out pretty great. You may not know this, but the MCU is a pretty big deal. So much so that the franchise has a global fan base. With that, the actors are expected to travel around the world. A lot of the traveling is undertaken for premieres. But beyond the PR appearances, the actors will also have to travel around when filming their moving pictures. For a long time, not much was known about the new Black Widow film, until photos and videos appeared online of Johansson in Norway. Social media was ablaze with speculation. Is the film set in Norway? Are they using it as a landscape for somewhere else? No idea. But Norway is quite the distance from the US. We did a Google search. Apparently, it's an 11-hour flight from Los Angeles to Oslo with no changes. Hefty. But it does go with the territory of being a Marvel superstar. MCU actors aren't just actors for the Marvel machine, they also have to be savvy in public relations. Whenever they appear on the MCU's behalf, they need to be on their best behavior. Sometimes the actors will go above and beyond.
Nice to meet you, I'm Spider-Man. Hi there.
Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland have been shown popping into hospitals to see kids. Johansson has thrown herself into charity work. She's been involved with 30 charities so far. That's massive. On top of that, she's been involved with 23 causes, which includes human rights, poverty, animal rights, and many more. Johansson has used her global platform to a great success, something which Disney are delighted about. Exercise and leg scissor takedowns are one part of getting into superhero shape. The other part is nutrition, something of which Johansson didn't forget. On top of her hellacious training, she changed her diet too. Her personal trainer, Eric Johnson, did some interviews on Johansson's dietary process. On one day, Johansson would have a high amount of carbohydrates and low amounts of fat. The next, low carbs and high fat. She would cycle between the two every day. On top of that, she would go through periods of fasting. She wouldn't eat for 12 hours every day. Sometimes it would go up to 15 hours, depending on Johansson's film schedule. Her former trainer, Bobby Storm, said that Johansson was mostly vegan when they were working together. We're not sure what mostly vegan means exactly. However, it seems later on, Johansson stopped dabbling in the vegan lifestyle. In interviews, she describes that she ate like a rabbit, which included foods like kale, salmon, and chicken. Once the filming of the first Avengers film was done, Johansson did some indulging, so much so that she developed an addiction to buffalo chicken wings. In 2017, Chris Hemsworth took to the stage at the Supernova Comic-Con in Australia. He then divulged some interesting info. Apparently, it's illegal for an MCU actor to also work in the DCEU. By illegal, we assume he means that there will be heavy financial penalties for working with the comic book enemy. Or maybe he was being serious, and we could see Marvel actors in prison for popping up in Metropolis. So, Scarlett Johansson has been unable to jump over to DC. Yet. If you don't want any Avengers Endgame spoilers, well, tough. It's been out for ages. In that film, Black Widow and Hawkeye fight to see who can throw themselves off the cliff first. Black Widow wins, which means her life is exchanged for the Soul Stone. With the Black Widow solo adventure being set shortly after Captain America Civil War, there is no future for Natasha in the MCU, unless something happens in the film that brings her back, of course. But currently, Scarlett Johansson will be leaving, along with Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. After that, she might be able to pop into the DCEU. We could see Johansson as Zatanna, or even as Poison Ivy in the future. Only time will tell, but for now, she's only able to bat for Team Marvel. Quick tangent, we know that YouTube can be tricky, so here's our handy guide to subscribing to us. Firstly, click subscribe and the little bell to get notified when we release new vids. If you're on mobile, make sure notifications are turned on in the settings. Now, back to the entertainment. As we may have mentioned earlier, there are some actors who aren't too great when it comes to spoilers. And what we mean by that is, well, they tend to drop story bombshells in interviews.
Everybody dies.
Dude.
Not everybody.
While Ruffalo and Holland are usually thought of as spoiler machines, Johansson might also be on that list. The Avengers Endgame cast was interviewed by Jimmy Kimmel about the new film. During the chatting, Kimmel mentions that it feels like the last time they'll all be there. Johansson chimes in by saying,
"Don't lie to him, we're not gonna ever.
You're never coming back."
It was played as a joke, but after Endgame came out, it turns out she was preaching some truth there. But Johansson's spoiling wasn't done there. During a premiere for Endgame, Johansson was wearing a very familiar looking piece of jewelry. It references the Infinity Gauntlet. But if you look at Johansson's jewelry closely, you may notice that the colors are positioned differently than how Thanos has his bling. The stone in the middle of the hand is usually the yellow Mind Stone. Johansson's version has the orange Soul Stone as the more prominent stone, hinting to the demise of her character due to this gem. Well played, Johansson. To go along with dieting and combat training, ScarJo also had to do some exercise too. After all, she had to get in spy/superhero shape, but it wasn't just any kind of exercising. As Johansson puts it herself, she had to work out like a dude. She would rather lift weights in the gym than do any cardio work. She would get out of bed at 5 in the morning every day. She would do this for 2 reasons. 1, to get the most out of her workouts, and 2, to complete her routine before her daughter woke up. Her trainer, Eric Johnson, has said that Johansson does this all the time. Johnson said that Johansson wants to be 3 weeks away from her peak condition all year round. That's a lot of pressure to put on herself. However, Johansson actually loves it. She stated, "I'm stronger and more capable now than I was 10 years ago." She said that the exercise part of Marvel is what she's most grateful for. Regardless of what Johansson does next, it looks like she's picked up a habit for life due to the MCU. Marvel makes an absolute fortune from their box office hits. Each film makes at least hundreds of millions of dollars back from the cinema alone. But even with Kevin Feige diving into a pool of box office coins, there's a much larger pool of gold coins at Marvel. We're of course talking about the merchandise moolah. As a Marvel actor, part of the deal is signing up your likeness to be used any way Disney likes. You can expect your mug to be on t-shirts, toys, posters, and well, mugs. On top of that, you may also be required to promote the products internationally. If a new Black Widow toy is being promoted for the film, Johansson could be in store to release her doppelganger doll. On top of this, the actors won't get a slice of the merchandise profits. They would get paid a lump sum for being in the film and having their likeness used instead. So those billions and billions of dollars stay with the House of Mouse. If you're lucky enough to sign the dotted line as a new Marvel actor, then expect to have a stunt double. Mostly the doubles are used to take part in the more dangerous stunts. The standard fight scenes would usually be done by the actors themselves.
I really don't want to hurt you.
I wouldn't stress about it.
However, the more complicated scenes may require tagging in the double. From Iron Man 2 to today, Johansson has had the same stunt double in the MCU. Her name is Heidi Moneymaker. She first got her taste in the superhero genre from Spider-Man 3. Somehow this didn't put her off the genre. Even if the actors desperately want to take part in a stunt, they are not allowed at all costs. Disney will protect the actors from any harm. Otherwise, the filming will have to stop if they are injured. It's best to leave it to the professionals. A Marvel actor rarely signs on for just one film. Well, at least if they're playing a hero, anyway. All the MCU big-timers will sign a multi-picture deal. Originally, Anthony Mackie, who plays Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, signed up for an apparent 10-picture deal. However, Johansson's contract isn't as well known. She has stated herself that her contract has kind of mutated over the years. It's widely speculated that her contract is up after the Black Widow solo film. So, it could be her last appearance in the black catsuit. However, she has been in a huge number of Marvel films. Altogether, she will be in 8 Marvel movies. With all the actors being locked into long contracts, they've spent a lot of time together. In order to celebrate this, 5 out of the 6 original Avengers got a tattoo. Mark Ruffalo decided that he didn't want to get one. While Johansson's film schedule will be roomier once she departs, it's been a great ride seeing her in the MCU. And that's a wrap. We should take some inspiration from the Avengers. Perhaps we should all get a tattoo at Screen Rant. It would look pretty jaunty. If you think we should, like the video. Do you have a favorite Black Widow moment? Put your thoughts in the comments below. We go through them with a fine-tooth comb. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time. Later, emulator.